Awesome. So I'm Matty Beckerman, the CEO and founder of IR Code, and James is the CEO and founder of MVP Interactive, and we've been friends for 15 plus years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So first off, just tell us about MVP Interactive and what you guys do and how you operate as a company, and then let's talk about the book you've written.
Sure.
About this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Well, we're a creative technology company that creates immersive experiences for some of the world's largest sports teams, brands, and brand agencies. So we've had the pleasure over the decade to build a wide range of technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, full gesture-based simulated sporting experiences. And it's been a nice journey to kind of keep pace with where technology is trending, also where marketers are looking to invest in. So it's been a challenge, but also a reward to really, stay on that path, because as we know, technology goes through pretty fast hype cycles. So
when you're doing something in stadium, like an experiential event, like what has been like the most popular thing you guys have experienced and done at a sporting venue?
Sure. So I would say last year, we had the culmination of our lives' work, and we worked with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we reimagined a 4,000 square foot fan zone where they came to us and said, hey, we have this underperforming bar in the venue. It's our 20th anniversary of Nationwide Arena. Can you guys come in and give us some really creative ideas to not only redesign the space, but also create immersive technology experiences with a couple of key pillars that they wanted to really drive for the community. So Columbus was really, it's they're one sport town, and so the community engagement was really important for them. So they wanted to have contextual experiences, not just put technology for the sake of technology. So sticks in hands was like a big feature for them. So they wanted something a bit physical, but with a technology element. So and esports was another key component. And so what we did was we fabricated a replica locker room where we had 7 esports stations that fans could participate with. And then we created a host of simulated hockey experiences. So a slap shot challenge using OmniTrack motion capture sensors where fans could hit a hockey puck on a projection screen that it tracks scores. You can play against the goalie. You can do target practice. And then we actually built a really cool puck shooting game. So you could be the goalie, and in real time, it was taking a video of you blocking these shots that were pucks that were being fired at you. They were foam pucks. Everyone was safe. No one got hurt, but it's a very successful destination. They use the space now for not only game nights, obviously, but for hosting events, whether they're esports events, corporate events. And it was just a wonderful project, and really detailed all of our competencies and capabilities.
Yeah, your company really bridges the gap between creating games, like a gaming company, and immersive AR, VR, computer vision experiences, and being able to bring that and have a conversation with a team to be able to say, yes, we want to do this in stadium, which is super cool, and it's a rare thing to be able to do. So how did you come up with this, and where did the inspiration come to start doing this?
So that's a good question, and I think I was a non-technical founder, but I was always a big sports fan, and so I remember. And I detail this a little bit in the book, but I remember attending games. And if you go to the Phillies game, I grew up in New Jersey, so that was the closest stadium. But I remember brands sort of having these picnic tables with stacks of paper applications. So like MasterCard, they would try to call fans over, and really yard bark at them, say, hey, if you want this foam finger or towel, fill out this paper application. And I thought, this is about 2008, 2009. I'm like, with the iPhone kind of coming out, I said, what a great frictionless communication if you can use technology for consumer engagement and bring in fans to experience something really cool. And so when we launched the company in 2012, when I was talking about these virtual simulated sporting experiences or using face filters to do virtual face paint and things, teams were like, we don't have Wi-Fi. I don't know what you're talking about. And so it's been a slow journey, but it's been nice to really grow and see the trend, and now that properties and owners really focus in on fan experience as no longer a nice to have but a must have, because whether it's esports or the in-home viewing experience or ticket prices being so expensive, teams and properties are tasked with really creating a more theme park event rather than just, hey, you're going to watch the game.
Yeah. So, what was your first activation you did? Because that's the toughest thing, right? You have to show an MVP, you have to create the minimum viable product, and then show it to a team. So did someone give you like this is your shot?
Yeah, I call it my Forrest Gump moment, because I don't know how I found myself at the NBA headquarters with who is now the assistant commissioner of the league, but at that time he was the executive global marketing director, Mark Tatum. So I went in without any collateral or any real presentation material and pitched our capabilities. And he said, this seems really cool, but this is out of my purview. Why don't you speak with my event team? And I said, that sounds great. So he gave me about a week or two to kind of come up with some ideas. And I wanted to demonstrate at that time we had a freestanding kiosk that we called the Morphing Station. And ironically, on Friday, I was on a panel with Snapchat. And it's like a sort of love-hate relationship, because I was doing face filters well before them, but I went hardware, not on mobile. So, but anyway, we came up with this concept to create virtual bobbleheads of fans at their All-Star game. And so using an interactive kiosk, you can choose and customize the different figurine and hair elements. It would take a photo of you and then digitize you as your virtual bobblehead. And then that was shipped out via email. And that was our coming to moment. And it was a total proof of concepts. The NBA said, we can't pay you for it, but we'll give you floor space. And so it was actually down in Houston at the convention center in 2013.
Oh, amazing. That's so awesome.
And so we literally demoed the product and walked away with a new contract with at the time, the league banking sponsor, which was BBVA Compass.
Wow. And I mean, it must be such a popular thing. I've seen that at stadiums where people go in and do this. So you created a whole new experience, and then got the league to buy in, and then are able to replicate that stadium to stadium.
Yeah, and I try to play on the humble side of things, but in many ways when I zoom out, and these are other people's words, but we really pioneered the space in the concourse activation with our engagement. So it's, sometimes being first isn't the best as a startup or as a business. You take a lot of arrows in the back and such, but I think, in the legacy of life, it's a pretty cool acknowledgement to say, hey, we did this. And now we're seeing the evolution of what our product has done and sort of what our relationships have fostered into now the next venture of ours in creating the in-stadium advertising network through our interactive kiosks.
It's great to see how that technology evolves, and you can just then use it in real time, and it changes so fast. It's like, at the speed of thought, suddenly something is completely different.
I remember in 2014, so many people, advisors, friends, family, oh, you should be a VR company. I'm like, no, I'm old enough to remember what happened with VCR.
It's like 3D, VR, it's fascinating stuff. But ultimately, if you stay on your path and are able to do this, so tell me about your book, Beyond the Jumbotron. It looks really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it really. I wanted to write the book as a way to document where the trends in marketing and advertising are going. And so I didn't necessarily have an agenda behind the book outside of telling the story of MVP. And so it's one part of an entrepreneurial journey, and then it details the background of marketing and then how immersive technology has moved into the nomenclature of what advertisers and brands are doing. And so as a byproduct of the book, it's been nice that a lot of universities have picked it up for sports marketing as well as general marketing curriculum. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind. I didn't want to be overly textbook, but it's a quick read, but it really details the journey and the different experiences and the brands that we worked with.
That's great. So now they're using it as a curriculum and a book that you have you gone and taught at any of the classes yet?
I have. And, we joke, my colleague, I don't know, she's not here, but she did an amazing job with outreach with professors. And You know, I used to be obviously a college student. You looked up to these college professors, but now working with them and how quickly they're able to pass off work. I've literally have put together curriculum, taught classes, and graded papers.
Oh, man, that's fun. I enjoy doing that. I think it's like, a really great experience to like pass on some of the knowledge that I've built building companies throughout the years.
Yeah. And, it's a way to give back, and it's definitely a rewarding feeling.
Yeah. And we're going to work on some really fun initiatives with IR Code and MVP Interactive and like go down that path of how we incorporate our technology into what you're doing. And we've had some really exciting conversations about it. So I'm happy to like sit with you and go through this.
Yeah, I can't wait, and I really look forward to the day because I remember the early version of IR Code before it was IR Code, and so to have the opportunity to work with you and sort of bring you into our world and really collaborate is super exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be really neat when we see this at full scale in a stadium where you can activate an entire stadium with IR Code and walk around the stadium and have a scavenger hunt throughout it, and have fans engage on like a big scale. So James is helping us to imagine what that process is and how we do it, and then how we interact with the team. Because you having that experience there and lending us that knowledge base is hugely important for us as a company, as a startup. And thank you for being a gateway there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's perfect timing because when you think about the evolving landscape of sponsorship as well, you have your endemic brands, your beverage, alcohol, automotive, finance, things of that nature. But technology is such a huge vertical for these teams, and they're constantly looking for new tech partners to integrate with because they know that's the future, and that's really an interest of their fans and a part of our way of life now.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, it's an exciting moment. So where do you see MVP Interactive in the future, and what would you like to see as like the holy grail of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I quickly referenced the in-stadium advertising network, and I'm super excited about that opportunity in where we're going to allow non-endemic brands or brands that are mid to regional size that couldn't have access to these high-driven sports, high-profile properties, that they can use us as a conduit to enter the sports marketing space. And so creating value for a lot of brands to enter the space, growing our portfolio of our interactive kiosks, and then eventually scaling outside of perhaps arenas into lifestyle centers or destination points where we have an integrated digital out-of-home network using gaming and technology.
Awesome. It's a great way to go. I think it's needed.
Yes. I think the world is ready for it too.
Yeah, amazing. I'm happy to put out any questions people want to ask, but I think we're at our time period here. We're limited to apparently a short amount of time, but I'm excited you're here with me, and to see our professional friendship go into actually
Absolutely.
working together.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, James, for being with me and taking the time out. I know you're like speaking on panel to panel to panel, and appreciate you breaking out a little bit to spend some time with us.
Happy birthday, Maddie. Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's my birthday.